Hi there, and welcome to A Song of Ice and Fire Explained. This is a video series where we explain the massive conspiracies going on in A Song of Ice and Fire. If you haven't seen our previous videos, we suggest watching those first. So let's continue on with Jon 1, A Game of Thrones. This chapter is 3,232 words long and is told from the perspective of Jon Snow, the supposed bastard son of Eddard Stark. In this chapter, Jon Snow attends the feast Winterfell is holding for the royal guests and speaks with Benjen Stark about joining the Night's Watch and Tyrion Lannister about being born a bastard. This chapter introduces Jon Snow properly to the reader, his hopes, his dreams, and his insecurities. We see that Jon is more observant than his half-siblings, but really knows nothing, like Tyrion and Benjen try to tell him. A feast is held in Winterfell in honor of King Robert's royal visit. Jon decides that he is thankful his bastardy has relegated him to the far end of the hall with the younger squires, instead of the king's family, where he can drink as much as he wants and mingle freely with those around him. Jon watches the king and his family as they arrive. He recognizes Queen Cersei's false smile and is disappointed with fat, red-faced King Robert. Princess Myrcella seems smitten with her escort, Robb, leading Jon to decide she is insipid. Arya is escorted by plump, young Prince Tommen. The 12-year-old Crown Prince Joffrey, who is even taller than Robb, is escorting the radiant Sansa. Jon decides he does not like Joffrey's pouty lips or the disdain the prince seems to hold for Winterfell. He also notes that the Queen's brother, Jaime Lannister, looks like a proper king, and the waddling dwarf Tyrion Lannister is grotesquely fascinating. As ugly as Jaime and Cersei are beautiful. The last to enter are Benjen Stark and Theon Greyjoy. Jon feeds his direwolf Ghost under the table and watches the pup silently face down a full-grown dog 3 times his size. Bringing his wolf to the feast is another perk to being the bastard. Jon is joined by Benjen, who asks how much he's had to drink, adding that Jon is older than he was when he first got truly drunk. Benjen asks about Ghost, and Jon explains that he named him Ghost for his white colour and because he never makes a sound. Benjen asks why Jon is not at the main table, and Jon says flatly that Lady Catelyn thought seating a bastard with the king might give offence. Benjen comments that Eddard does not seem festive, and Jon adds that neither does the Queen. Probably because of King Robert's visit to the crypts. Benjen commends Jon's keen observation and remarks that he could use a man like him on the wall. Jon latches on to this and asks if he can return to the wall with Benjen. Benjen replies that the wall is a hard place for a boy, but Jon counters that he will turn 15 on his next name day, and it's said bastards grow up faster than purebloods. Jon thinks about how all his half-brothers and sisters have futures, but there is no future for a bastard. Benjen says that he should know a woman and father a bastard or 2 first, to know what he will be giving up. This angers Jon, who states that he will never father a bastard and runs off with Ghost before anyone can see him cry after knocking into a serving girl. As Jon is leaving, Tyrion Lannister speaks to him from a ledge in the deserted yard and asks if he can take a look at Ghost. Jon offers to help him down, but Tyrion jumps down, acrobatically landing on his hands and vaulting to his feet. Ghost is uncertain about Tyrion, but submits to examination at Jon's command. Tyrion asks if Jon is Eddard's bastard. Jon bristles, and Tyrion apologizes that, as a dwarf, he can usually speak as he pleases, like a jester. He comments that Jon has more of the North in him than his half-siblings. Jon appreciates the comment, but tries not to show it. "Let me give you some counsel, bastard," Lannister said. "Never forget what you are, for surely the world will not. Make it your strength, then it can never be your weakness." Jon was in no mood for anyone's counsel. "What do you know about being a bastard?" "All dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes." "You are your mother's trueborn son of Lannister." "Am I?" the dwarf replied. "Do tell my lord father. My mother died birthing me, and he's never been sure." "I don't even know who my mother was," Jon said. "Some woman, no doubt. Most of them are." He favoured Jon with a rueful grin. "Remember this, boy. All dwarfs may be bastards, yet not all bastards need be dwarfs." And this is where Jon 1, A Game of Thrones ends. Now, onto the theory portion of the video. Why did Maester Luwin lie? So, in the next chapter, Catelyn 2, Ned and Caitlin are discussing what to do with Jon. When Ned travels south with Robert, Caitlin refuses to house Jon, but Ned can't take Jon with him to court. They are at a crossroad, but then Luwin interjects with this. "Another solution presents itself," he said, his voice quiet. "Your brother Benjen came to me about Jon a few days ago. It seems the boy aspires to take the Black." Ned looks shocked. "He asked to join the Night's Watch?" However, as we know, Benjen does not want Jon to join the Night's Watch so young. And Luwin exploits his position to have Jon sent to the Wall. For this video series, we'll be pointing out all the times that the Maesters directly or indirectly influence the story, in an effort to prove Maesters sometimes have their own agendas. This will be important later in future theory predictions. Moreover, there is a theory that Benjen was forced to take the Black because he kept something secret from Ned pertaining to Lyanna running away with Rhaegar during Robert's rebellion. Since it is strange for Ned's only remaining brother to be left at the Wall, even though there are plenty of better futures he could have chosen from. But again, this is just pure speculation, although we never see Ned and Benjen interact even once in a Game of Thrones, which could be interpreted that the brothers do not get along despite being pretty honourable guys. And that's about it for Jon 1, A Game of Thrones. In the next video, we'll cover Caitlin 2 and continue from there. In the meantime, here are some of the other differences between the HBO TV show and book. The entrance of the royal family and House Stark to the feast, described in the book, was omitted in the TV series. In the book, Benjen enters the feast along with the royal family and the other members of House Stark. In the show, he arrives late, after the feast begins, and Jon doesn't attend the feast at all. Jon meets his uncle Benjen outside while practicing with a sword. In the book, Jon attends the feast but is not permitted to sit at the main table with the royal family. Instead, he sits with the squires and other noble-born boys of similar age. But he is actually pleased with this, as out of sight, he is free to drink as much wine as he pleases and gets drunk. Then Benjen approaches him and they have their conversation inside the feasting hall. In the book, the description of the feast is from Jon's POV, thus it focuses on his conversations with Benjen. The scenes depicting the activities of other people in the feast are mostly not present in the book. These include Robert's activities and Cersei's reactions, conversations between Caitlin and Cersei, conversations between Benjen and Eddard, the subtle confrontation between Jaime and Eddard, Sansa speaking to Cersei, and Arya throwing food at Sansa, etc. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. If you want to see more of A Song of Ice and Fire explained, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, when you get the chance, try out Fantasy Flights, a Game of Thrones board game, digital edition.